Hi everybody, Cheryl here. Had two students in class recently. Very different issues, and yet we can kind of solve them in the same way. One has really tight hamstrings, and one is really tight through the hip girdle. One stands at her job all day, one sits all day. It's pretty much 50% of us stand all day, 50% of us sit all day. It seems to be that in-between that we're looking for, that balance, right? Low back. So what do we do first? I told them that basically just to kind of follow this real basic sequence, and I start with ragdoll. Ragdoll is a standing posture. It's a great way to get down to the mat. It's also a nice way to release tension in the low back, but also, because it's a forward fold, it's soothing to the central nervous system. So it allows us to come to the mat and then center ourselves and ground ourselves. Maybe spend a few moments breathing in ragdoll. Kind of lets the troubles of your day go, right? So you don't want to bring those to the mat with you. You don't want to bring the stress of your job to the mat with you. Standing ragdoll is very simple. And yes, I realize my head is cut off. So in standing ragdoll, the knees have a heavy bend in them. So it isn't just a flat back standing, right? It's the heavy bend. You want to bend the knees, tushy goes back, and you just let yourself round, hang to the floor. Knees are bent, belly is almost resting on the thighs. Inner thighs tend to play out if you're really weak here. You can either work on bringing the inner thighs together or take the feet a little bit wider. Okay? Imagine lifting that line from the inner ankles and inner arches up, and then let the body hang. And just breathe. You can hold the elbows. A few more breaths. And then from here, you would simply bring yourself down to the mat, one knee and then the other. And I would go to child's pose. Now let's say for a moment, ragdoll is really uncomfortable for you because your hamstrings are so tight. Then you can use a chair. You can use a chair until your hamstrings start to unravel. That may take 5 minutes, it may take 5 weeks. But the idea is the same thing. The principle is the same. Heavy bend in the knees. You can use your hands here and let yourself hang. If you need more support, you get a little closer. You just rest the forearms and let the head hang. Over time, as the body releases and you get a little longer, you can put blocks or stack of books here. So you move the chair out of the way, and now the blocks or a stack of bricks come into play. So you've got several different options. And once you get to the floor, you know with child's pose, you're going to transfer to your back. So come to sitting, and you have a strap. A strap can be an old necktie, a piece of rope that's long enough. You can get these straps anywhere. Go to Target. I know Target has them. They're really nice. The D-ring version makes it really easy to hold on to. They're nice and long. And you're going to lay down on your back. So get here with your feet flat on the floor. Let the body go. And let yourself relax. Just for a few moments, just breathe. Don't worry about what you're going to do next. Count the spots on the ceiling, but relax. Just your breath. And then you're going to move the strap out of the way because you have your feet a little wider than the hips, as if you were going to do constructive rest pose. We'll get to that in a moment. And I just want you to sway the knees side to side. Now, how far you sway the knees is between you and your hip flexors and you and your back. But start off shallow. Don't go far. Over time, you may feel like you can get the knees to the ground, but you don't have to. If you feel like you want to get close, but the floor is still too far away, you roll up blankets, and you have a jelly roll blanket on one side and on the other so that the knees have somewhere to rest. Okay? Your inhale brings you up, your exhale carries you over, so it's not fast. This becomes more about the breath than the movement. Your breath is so slow and steady. The legs are simply following the breath. 4 or 5 rounds, and you end up staying on your last exhale on the right side. You stay and breathe. Again, if that's too much pressure on the left side body, too pulling against either the IT band or the abductors or in the back body, you prop up. You put a blanket under here, you put a blanket between the knees, let yourself hang. Just for a few breaths. This isn't about tugging or pulling, this isn't a big stretch. This is about letting gravity do its work. Let gravity take hold. 5 to 10 breaths here. And when you're ready, an inhale will bring you up. The exhale carries you over. And the same principles apply. You stay and breathe. If you need the props, you would just simply move the props over with you. 5 to 10 breaths here. And you'll come back up. When you come back to center, you can draw the knees in and rock side to side. And you're going to hold the right leg in and extend the left leg out on the floor. If that's too much on your back, if it pops your low back far away from the floor, you bend that knee. Okay. You're going to hold the knee in just gently, 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 drawing the knee towards your chest. We oftentimes think this is what we're focusing on, this pull, 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 but actually we're simply holding the leg in place while we extend out through the left leg. As you extend out through the left leg, the foot is gently flexed and you're pressing away with the heel. That helps to lengthen through the hip flexors, including the psoas. You can then take the left arm straight up and overhead and get a nice lengthening from the heel all the way to the fingertips. One more breath. You're going to bring that left hand, hold the right knee, right arm comes out to the side, and come across. Nice and easy. One more breath. And come back to center. And do the whole thing on the other side. Start with the left knee, draw it in, extend the right leg out. Nice and easy. Get here, get relaxed, and then work on lengthening out through that right foot. Your breath is still simple, still easy, sukha. The breath is sukha, effortless. And then the right arm comes up and over. Couple of breaths here. And then you're going to take hold of the left hand, left knee with the right hand. Left hand comes out to the side. Draw the knee across the body. This is about keeping the opposite shoulder down and only going as far as you can go. One more breath. And you come back up. Both knees bent, feet wide, knees come together, arms rest at your side, constructive rest pose. Go ahead and get your strap ready. And you're just going to stay on your back. And you're going to hold the strap around the right foot. So you can have it in it, you have very, very, very long legs. You can make a loop with that D-ring. But you can just hold both ends of the strap in the right hand. Left leg can be extended or bent. You've got to figure out what's best for your body and what's best for your back. Right now, we're not about tugging. Don't tug, don't pull. That's ballistic movement. We don't even want dynamic movement here. We want a simple, so if you're bent and your legs are tight, it might be here. And that's okay. So you just stay and breathe. Simple inhales and exhales. It's about giving the body time to adjust to this angle, wherever that angle is for you. So 5 breaths minimum, 10 breaths is best. It allows the connective tissue to relax. You can draw a little bit of contraction into the glutes. That's going to give you a little more extension. But for the most part, just relax here. A couple more breaths. Remember, 5 to 10 breaths. And then when you're ready, You start to take the leg out to the right side. You've got to keep that left hip down. You can put that right elbow on the ground for support, and you just hang out. You're not trying to get the foot to the floor. To do that, the hip has to pop up, okay? Most people can't do that. I can't get my foot all the way to the floor. I can get pretty close, but I can't get to the floor. Most people get about here. So if you were looking at a clock and your foot is at 12 o'clock, most people can get to about 3 o'clock. Very few people can get to 5, okay? So breathe and relax. Again, 5 to 10 breaths. I take my opposite hand and I put it on the hip point, top of the thigh, that crease. It reminds me to keep that hip down. Sometimes if you simply turn and look in the opposite direction, so I've got the right leg out, turning my head and looking to the left, that helps a lot too. If you wanted to stay here a whole lot longer, stack of blankets, stack of pillows, stack of books. If you have a bolster, bolster's perfect. One more breath. And then you're going to come up nice and easy. You're going to change hands and you're going to simply rock across the body. Now I'm going to turn, I'm going to scoot a little bit away from this wall back here. I have some long legs. So you want the right arm out. You're holding the strap in the left hand, still on the right leg, and you start to take the leg across. Only go as far as you can go, keeping the right shoulder down. The hip does come away from the floor. If you wanted to do just IT band, you could keep that hip anchored and just hang out here for about 5 breaths, and then roll the rest of the way. Again, you're not trying to get the foot to the floor. If it gets to the floor, fine, but it's about keeping the shoulder anchored and going only as far as you can go with the shoulder anchored. And you breathe. One more breath. And you come back up nice and easy. And the easiest way to change feet, hold the ends in both hands, put that left foot up as you bring the right foot down. Get that left leg centered. Where do you want it to be? And then start to extend the right leg out again. If it pulls your back out of alignment, it pulls your back too far from the floor. Your lumbar should still have its natural curve. You're not pressing it down, but you don't want it to pop up either. So you can bend that knee if you need to. 5 to 10 breaths, 10 being best, 5 being minimum. A couple more breaths. And then you're going to start to take the leg out to the side. So the left elbow can come to the ground. Keep that hand here that just helps to remind you to keep that hip down. You can always turn the head away from where the leg is going. One more breath. Come back to center. Change hands. Left arm comes out to the side. That left shoulder stays anchored. And you start to rock across, and you breathe. Again, if you're particularly tight in the abductors, you might be down here. And that's okay. You can bend the knee. Over time, you get more mobility. It's about keeping the shoulder down. One more breath. And you come back to center. You put the band down, the strap, whatever you're using, and go back to constructive rest pose. Feet are wide, knees come together. Arms resting comfortably at your side. And spend a moment watching the breath. Simple inhale and exhale. One more breath. And bring feet together and knees together. Your arms stay out about 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. You bring the knees in over the body. Inhale. Exhale, take them over to the right side. If you need some support, you can put something between the knees, a blanket or a pillow. You may need something between the knees and the floor. Most importantly, don't leave the feet hanging. Oftentimes people that are tight in hips get about here and stay. At least bring the feet down and then prop under the knees, okay? That way you've got time. Time can be weeks. Be patient before you get those legs all the way down. Everyone's different. This is, oh gosh, you're stretching everything. You're releasing tension along the spine, releasing tension in the abductors, your glutes, the side of your hips, IT band, quadratus lumborum, which is always a nice, always gets tight, especially it's weak if you sit and it's tight if you stand. One more breath. Easiest way to come out of this if you're tight is to lead with that top leg. So bring that leg up first and then come back, feet flat on the floor. Let your body find a neutral place, feet and knees together, and inhale brings you up. And exhale carries you over. Remember, if you only get so far, bring the feet down and then prop up. It's about keeping the shoulder anchored. You can turn the head, look away from the direction the knees are going. And you look for places where the body might be holding on to tension. Are you making fists? Let those go. Are you clenching your jaw? Let that go. When you can do that, then the rest of the body starts to unravel. It starts to relax. One more breath. If you're particularly strong in your waistband area and in the glutes, you can bring both legs up at the same time. You don't have to do that if you're tight, and bring the feet to the floor. One last supine twist is you're going to shift your hips a little over to the left. Feels a little wackadoodle at first. Feet and knees together, come up and rotate. It just takes the rotation of the torso a little higher up in the body. And everybody feels something differently. You know, I can tell you where to look for something, but I can't tell you what you're going to feel when you look there. So start to scan the body. See what's going on in your rib cage. See what's going on in the low part of your low back, but on the left side of the spine, left of the spine, top of the hip, that area, in the hips themselves, in the IT band area, side of your thighs. You can always turn the head, look away from the direction the knees are going, as long as it doesn't tighten up the shoulders. One more breath. Always bring the head back to center first. Again, you can bring the legs up one at a time. Bring the feet to the floor. Now you shift those hips back to center and find your neutral space. You're going to shift your hips over to the right. Feet and knees together. Come up on an inhale. And come over. Breathe. Find some place where you're holding on to tension. It might have been the shoulders were coming up. Try and let those relax. Might have been in the breath, in the rib cage. Relax there. Same principles apply. Scan the body. Look for places of where you're feeling something. It might be in along the spine. Might be a little to the right of the spine in the rib cage. Might be in the abductors. It might be down the side of the thigh. You can turn your head. Look away from the direction the knees are going. You're always breathing. One more breath. Head comes back to center. Again, you can either bring the legs up one at a time or bring them up together. Bring the feet down, the hips find neutral, and constructive rest pose. Spend a few moments in constructive rest pose just breathing. If your mind wanders away, back to your day or the things you have to do later, come back to the awareness of breath. And watch the rise and fall of the belly as you breathe. Watch the subtle expansion of the rib cage as you breathe. You may have a little movement in the sternum area of your chest, the central sternum, but the collarbones and the shoulders are very relaxed, very, very quiet there. One more breath. And then walk the feet in, hug the knees in, rock a little side to side, take a deep breath. Let that breath go. Feet come down. Inhale, reach up overhead. Long inhale here. The exhale, let it go. Easiest way to come up is simply roll over onto your side. Give yourself a moment here. Take another deep breath. And you come back up to sitting. Whatever comfortable position, and take one more deep breath. And that's a simple 7-8 minute practice. Okay? Remember to breathe. Remember to stay in the poses a little longer, but don't push or tug. Let me know how that goes. Namaste, everyone.